Okay, it looks like almost everyone that was pre-registered has gone ahead and logged in, so I am going to go ahead and get started. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to do a quick presentation, and then once I'm done, I am going to turn it over to the primary advisor for our astronautical engineering program, Luis Ceballos, and he will have a quick presentation, and then we will go into a Q&A session where you can ask questions of anyone on our team, Luis, or we also have a couple of the astronautical engineering master students as well. So there'll be a great group of people that you can ask questions of. So let me go ahead and get started with the presentation. So first off, congratulations on your admission to USC. We have a very competitive admissions system, so it's really something to be proud of that you were admitted to our one of our programs, especially our astronautical engineering program. And, oops, oops, and welcome to Los Angeles. Just to give you an idea, literally a short walk from USC, you have access to several of LA's museums, including the Natural History Museum, our California Science Center, and California African American Museum. Right across the street is also the Memorial Coliseum, which is where USC plays football. There is a great rose garden. So if you need a little bit of time to just kick back and relax and enjoy a little bit of nature, the Rose Garden is a great place to do that. Um, the USC Village, which includes a Trader Joe's and a Target, as well as additional places to eat, is also across the street in the other direction of campus. And then just 50 cents away by what we call a Dash Shuttle, which is part of the LA transit system, you have access to a lot of the concert venues, tons of restaurants, as well as LA's Chinatown, Little Tokyo, and Olvera Street, which is LA's Little Mexico, as well as some additional museums. And then within a short drive, there you have access to a lot of things that are kind of iconic to Los Angeles, things like the Santa Monica Pier, Beverly Hills, Hollywood, Universal Studios, and the Griffith Park Observatory. Obviously, LA is a global hub for innovation. In fact, we are one of the fastest growing entrepreneurial tech hubs in the world. Um, the little image on the left just kind of gives you an idea of some of the companies that have a major presence in Los Angeles, from Amazon and Hulu to Bird, Google, Facebook. There are also a couple of major USC um, institutes that are in what we call Silicon Beach, which is the actual tech hub for LA. And that's our Institute for Creative Technologies and our Information Sciences Institute. Specifically for astronautics, obviously, is SpaceX is literally about 30 minutes south of USC, and JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, is about 30 minutes north. A little bit about USC. We are ranked 19th among more than 1,000 public and private universities. We do have an emphasis on cross-disciplinary education, and the whole concept of interdisciplinary is something that has been an active part of USC actually before it became kind of one of those things that every university talks about. In addition, our university president, Carol Folt, recently announced a $1 billion plus initiative called the Frontiers of Computing. Uh, and the reason I'm mentioning that is that it's going to not only provide a new a naming grant for our computer science department, a new computer science building, and a new school for advanced computing that will be housed within our Viterbi School of Engineering. But the reason I mention it is because computer science realistically impacts every aspect of the university and certainly every aspect of our School of Engineering. And speaking of our School of Engineering, we do have over 96,000 alumni worldwide. They are very active. They are always interested in helping out fellow Trojans. It is considered one of the most active and useful networking groups that you can participate in. As far as our graduate student population, 32% of them are women. We would certainly love to see that being much closer to 50%, but we are still quite a bit higher than the national average for the percentage of women in schools, which I believe is about 22%. So we're very happy that we're well above the national average in that. We are a major force in research with over $183 million in annual research expenditures. And then as far as our faculty go, the 199 is actually a little out of date. I believe currently we have about 213 tenure track faculty. We are a leader in basically computing artificial intelligence. Although again, this is not specifically astronautics. Um, I weaved this slide in simply because AI, like computer science in general, is something that really does impact and kind of is part of almost every aspect of engineering, regardless of the specific discipline. So this just kind of gives you an idea as just how wide-ranging our AI is at USC. Obviously, since all of you have been admitted to a master's program, careers are a major concern and something that that you definitely want to learn more about. Our Viterbi Career Connections is basically our School of Engineering's career services group. This just kind of gives you an idea of how wide-ranging their services are. I mean, it's everything from being connected to employers and opportunities. We have 2 career and internship expos a year. We have events where you can network with industry professionals. You can do internships and receive credit for them. There's the standard workshops on things like resume writing and things like that. We have a lot of resources specifically for our international students, if you're an international student, and we even have things like field trips to local companies. This is just kind of, again, more on career connections. This just kind of gives you an idea as to just how extensive the programming that they offer is. Our Viterbi School of Engineering is committed to inspiring and educating future engineering leaders. The image just gives you an idea as to how diverse our graduate student population is. And speaking of our students, we do have student ambassadors. In fact, we have, I know, 1 or 2, I believe, that are ambassadors that are actually with our astronautical engineering program. So after this program, if you do want additional information directly from students our regarding our programs, please do go ahead and make sure that you connect with our student ambassadors. We also have a mentorship program because we do know that it can be challenging to go ahead and basically start out in a new school, uh, very possibly in a new city, and for many of you, actually a new country as well. So the mentorship program is actually here to help you acclimate to USC, Los Angeles, and California. Um, so just be aware that the mentorship program is something that you can sign up for as soon as you accept your admission to USC. And obviously, one of the best ways to find out about USC and get acclimated is to get involved. This is this image kind of just gives you a feel for some of the ways you can get involved within our Viterbi School of Engineering. But don't just rely on our School of Engineering. There's a lot of things to do outside of USC. I'm tailgate and football games, hackathons that are university wide, mixers and networking events that involve the entire university. We have over 1,000 student clubs, so there are a lot of ways to get involved, a lot of activities to do. I urge you to definitely take advantage of those. We do consider safety a major concern at USC. We are an urban campus. Uh, So especially if you're not familiar with Los Angeles, if you look on the left, you see something that says USC Patrol Zone. I tend to think of it more as an enhanced services zone because our shuttles run through that area. And also after 6 o'clock, if you need to get back to your apartment and you don't have someone to walk with, uh, you can you can call our a mobile safety service, and we have an agreement with Lyft. They will come and pick you up at the building where your class was and take you back to your apartment as long as it's within that pink area there. And there is no cost for that service. It's completely free service. So housing, be aware that all graduate students live off campus. However, that can be as close as right across the street. If you're interested in USC owned housing, again, uh, there isn't quite enough USC owned housing for all grad students. So we do recommend that as soon as you accept your admission to USC, go to housing.usc.edu and you can enter the housing lottery. And the sooner you do that, the better your chances of getting USC owned housing um, are. Just be aware that even though there's not quite enough USC owned housing for all grad students, there is plenty of housing. So you don't need to worry about not being able to find housing. It's just that if you want USC housing, make sure you enter the lottery. And this slide just kind of gives you an idea as to some of the USC owned housing. There's plenty of off-campus housing you can move into. The places listed there, again, you're welcome to look at those. I do urge you, if you're new to Los Angeles, again, to live at least in that first semester or first year within that pink zone. I've talked about some of the advantages to submitting your statement of intent. In addition to those, you do have access to pre-orientation resources. There will be additional academic webinars offered by departments. I already talked about the mentorship program and the housing options. So the fall deadline. Fall deadline is going to be April 15th for most of you. Some people that have been admitted later may have an extended deadline. When you go into the USC portal, if you click on the submit button, you will see the actual date that you have to submit the application or submit your acceptance or turn down your admission to USC. For those of you that are international, as soon as you've accepted your admission to USC, you will want to submit your financial documentation. All that is done through a new system called Trojan International. Um, there's plenty of information there. It has everything you need to know about what documents to submit, um, what acceptable documentation consists of. Basically, everything dealing with the I-20 is going to be on that Trojan International site. And that's basically it for my portion of the presentation. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Luis and to our student panelists once we're ready for that. Luis, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Ray. Welcome, everyone. Congratulations once again on your admissions to our Masters in Astronautical Engineering program, and for those also admitted to our Systems Architecting and Engineering program. I will go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go over a presentation that we have for our department. This one's geared for our master's students in astronautical engineering. For those of you that are part of the SAE program, we will send you all the follow-up information and have individualized program overviews, and then we can go over in detail your program specifically. So let's get started. For today's agenda, we'll cover the department itself, some of the faculty, our research areas, the degrees offered, some student tips, and obviously the coursework and the criteria for MS applicants. So to begin, our Department of Astronautical Engineering is a unique pure space engineering department which was established in 2004. It was built upon astronautical specialization, which started in 1995, part of the Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering Department. But obviously, since 2004, we are our own entity. So we're separate than the Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering Department. We work closely, but as you see now, our rocket science field is booming. And so we have our own department with full sets of degrees. We offer a bachelor's in science, which also offers a minor for our undergrads. Obviously, this master's program, we do have a terminal engineering degree, which is a special degree for students that finish the master's, but yet not ready for the PhD. Obviously, we have a PhD cohort, and then obviously we offer grad certificate for those that might not be ready for the master's just yet. So the mission is to provide forefront research and education in astronautical engineering, also well known as space science, space engineering. This is the core faculty, pretty much full-time faculty members that are tenured with our department in the left-hand side. And then in the right-hand side, you can see our staff. This is alphabetical order. So you'll see first Professor David Barnhart, who's our research professor. He's the director of the Space Engineer Research Center. That's a great lab opportunity, or it's a lab that has many projects within it. That is a great opportunity for our students. It is not located on campus per se, but we do have a shuttle that gets you to the facility where the Space Engineer Research Center is. And it's a university shuttle that is a free service. So if you are interested in being part of CERC, definitely reach out to Professor Barnhart. Then you'll see Professor Daniel Irwin, who's our department chair. He pretty much is involved in all student affairs, all program affairs, all department affairs, but he specifically works with our bachelor students as he's the director of our bachelor's program. The person that you all probably will be working closely with is Dr. Mike Grutman, who he's the director for the Masters of Science, which is obviously this master's program. We also have Professor Joseph Kunsch, emeritus, who retired, but he's still closely part of the faculty committee group. Then you'll see there Professor Assad Matni, who he's the director for the Systems Architect and Engineering program. So those of you that were admitted for the SAE program, you would work closely with Dr. Matni. You also see there Dr. Reisman. He's an ex-astronaut, so he's really well regarded, full-time faculty, teaches 3 of our courses for the master's program, and he's also part of our faculty committee. And then lastly, Dr. Joseph Wong, who's our PhD program director, who also teaches courses in the master's program, but he predominantly oversees our PhD program cohort. In the right-hand side, you'll see our staff, which is led by Doug Quasson, our business manager. Then you'll see Ms. Marlon Lat, who's admin support budget specialist, along with Ms. Linda Lai, who's also budget specialist, and a research administrator. Then you see myself, and then Ms. Priscilla Vasquez, who is also an advisor in our department. These are other faculty members, part of this master's program that you all will get a chance to take courses with. You see here in the right-hand side, most of these faculty or lecturers pretty much have their day jobs and then come and teach here in the afternoon or on their allotted time schedule. And then you see the companies associated with them. So this is also a great opportunity to network for those of you that will be coming in person and doing the program full time. This is a great opportunity to connect with these faculty members and possibly build the bridge for you to get an opportunity in some of these companies. So definitely feel free to reach out to them. If you have any issues reaching out to them, please feel free to connect with me, and then I can help you out with that as well. Dr. Gruntman can also help you out with that as well. These are the research areas that we focus on in our department. Obviously, astronautics, space environment and spacecraft interactions, space science, space instrumentation and sensors. We have a big spacecraft propulsion emphasis here as we have two labs specifically designed on propulsion, space mission and spacecraft design, non-equilibrium processes in gases and plasmas, computational physics, and high-performance computing. So these are also some of the projects associated with our faculty members and our students. And then as I mentioned below, we have some lab groups that you all can get an opportunity to join. And there's different wide range of areas of space science that you can get hands-on experience. As I mentioned earlier, we have a liquid propulsion lab team, a rocket propulsion lab team. There's other labs within Viterbi that you all can join as well. And as I mentioned, the Space Engineer Research Centers, where there's a lot of sub-projects being worked on, like micro satellites, CubeSats, lunar lander team, and so on and so on. These are some of the statistics. We are going to reach soon the 1,000 students in MS AST who have graduated in the program. So that's a great accomplishment that we will be proud of coming up soon. Nationally, we award 3 to 4% of the master's degree in astronautical, aeronautical, aerospace engineering. 70 aerospace related departments and programs are associated with us from the United States. As you see here in the right top hand corner, we have students from all over the country. Some of them are worldwide if they're military students and obviously have obligations. They may be doing courses online, like most of you that will do the platform through DEN. And obviously you can see some of these statistics as we've been growing throughout the years. So now going into the detail of the program, this degree is in the highly dynamic and technological advanced area of astronautics and space technology. The program is designed for those with bachelor's degrees in science and engineering, but no, the bachelor's degree in aerospace is not required. So you can have a background in engineering from various areas. We do have our own admission committee review team. So you have been reviewed by our program director and our committee review team, and we deem you qualified to be admitted into this program. So it doesn't really matter the background, as long as you had the bare minimum, which is physics and calculus. You could be an astronomy major, physics major. Some of you may be electrical engineer. It's not predominantly tied just to aerospace engineer students. So you all are more than ready to tackle this program. We obviously combine science and engineering fundamentals with specialized courses in the astronautics faculty and adjunct faculty and lecturers from leading space companies and government space research and design centers. So you'll get a chance to meet folks from all different spaces, connections with companies, government spaces, obviously professors that are full-time here so they can help you out with PhD prospects and all type of questions within the space science field. Going into the program now itself, for students, it may be different classifications. Some of you will be full-time on-campus students. Some of you will be working full-time professionals, studying part-time, which are usual our DEN students. So if you're full-time on campus, you particularly will take 3 courses. If you're working full-time, studying part-time, we definitely recommend starting with 1 course your first semester. Obviously, as you go on through the program, you can add additional courses if you feel that you can tackle more than 1 course while you're working. Definitely, we can touch base and have a conversation about that. So as I mentioned earlier, you can have background in astronautics, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, aerospace, other engineering areas like chemical, computer, and systems engineering, physics, astronomy, you name it. So uh, you made it here to USC Astronautical Engineering Program, and we'll be more than happy to help you with your trajectory in this rocket science field. And if you have any questions about career planning or career perspectives, I can definitely help you out with that as well. We have a newsletter for this master's program. It updates every 6 months, so we will have a new update for our newsletter coming in the next couple days and weeks. And then you can see here all the information of the program. We also provide a master's schedule for our courses offered in this master's program. And you can see when they're offered for the next 3 to 5 years. So it helps you create your course plan and definitely know when courses will be offered so you don't miss out on those good electives that some of you might be interested in. The program itself is 27 units, 9 courses. You need to take at least one course per semester, which only fall and spring are required. We have 4 required courses from the 27 units, 9 courses, which are focused on spacecraft system design, space environments and spacecraft interactions, spacecraft propulsion, and orbital mechanics. So pretty much all students have to go through these courses. They're the core required. You can request waivers for some of these classes, which we can discuss individually. So definitely set up an advising meeting if you'd want to touch base upon that. Then you'll have 3 core electives, which have to be from our astronautics core grad course list. And then you have 2 technical elective courses, which you can also select from that ASTE grad course list, or this is the chance where you can branch out and take courses from Viterbi from other engineering areas if you do have interest. For example, if you'd want to take an aerospace course or a mechanical engineer course, you have up to 2 slots to apply, and they would be counted as tech electives. So just 9 courses, 27 units. No thesis is required, but it is an option that we offer for our students. Predominantly, the thesis would be pursued for students in person, so they work closely with the faculty advisor that will support them in their thesis and obviously help them do their thesis committee once they do the thesis defense their final semester. Some of the elective courses that will be offered and the different concentrations that can be fulfilled from the elective courses that we offer. We have about 30 to 40 courses that are electives, and you have 7 concentrations that you can fulfill. To maintain status in this bachelor's degree, or I'm sorry, in this master's degree, you need to have at least a 3.0 GPA from our 4.0 scale. If you fall under the 3.0 GPA, you will be put on probation. It's really important that you maintain over that 3.0 GPA. And obviously, you all have been admitted, so this is just criteria for the application piece, but it is really important to touch upon the GPA requirement, which you all should maintain at least a 3.0 and above. If you've been conditionally admitted, you will see it on your record as an ADM 20 or ADM 21 hold. It is really important that you never fall below the 3.0 GPA, because then you can be sent for review and put in a crisis contract, which obviously after a few semesters, if your GPA dips, you can be removed from the program. But just make sure you maintain that 3.0 GPA, and then obviously you'll get to complete the degree as you need a 3.0 GPA as well. So some common questions, typical time for students that are full-time. It'll take you about a year and a half if you do 3 courses in 3 semesters. Part-time students, you have a little bit more time here since you're doing 1 or 2 courses per semester, and it could take you about 3 to 4 years. For course sequence, required courses before electives may be a question for some of you, but that is not the case. So course sequence is entirely up to the student. I can help you out based on the course schedule that we have and how to kind of maneuver the courses for your special case. And just know you do not have to start with the required courses before you get into the electives, unless those electives have prereqs, and most of the times it would be the required courses. But as we mentioned, some electives are offered every year or every 2 years. So if it's a course coming up this fall and there's no elective and you don't want to miss out on it, definitely take the elective while you could take the required course later on down the program. Technical electives from other departments, as we mentioned, we do approve. So you have 2 slots, and that would be for your tech elective spots. For systems engineer or students that have interest in systems engineering, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a systems architecting and engineering program. I'll touch details about that in a little bit. But if you do have interest, we do offer SAE courses that you can take for your tech elective slots. And that can also give you entry into that systems engineering world. For DEN students, you could attend classes on campus. You're more than welcome to come and join us on campus. Some students that are DEN local students might come to campus once a semester, or maybe a few times a semester, or maybe just once a year. It's based on their need. If they don't need to show up to campus, then they have the recording or can join the live broadcasting. I won't touch upon the difference between astronautical and aerospace. That's a conversation you can have with Dr. Grutman down the line. I'm not an engineer per se by background. I just been advising this program the last 5 years, so I have some good insight in the topics of astronautical engineering, but don't really get too down to the nitty-gritty with the technical stuff. So definitely have that conversation with Dr. Grutman. In regard to the student life, student processes, logistics, I can always help you out with that. These are our contacts, so definitely reach out to me after this session or whenever you get a chance to watch this recording so we can go over your specific profile and give you a program overview that would be suited for your plans. And then obviously, if you need to get in contact with Dr. Grutman, this is his email and phone number. He's on sabbatical this spring semester, so he won't have the usual response rate. He has a good response rate. He'll respond within 24 hours. But if you do reach out to him, it might take a few days or not, but he'll be back by summertime. And then obviously he'll teach ASTE 520 this coming fall. Yeah, you'll all get a chance to meet him there if you take that class, or just definitely set up a time to do a coffee chat or a phone call. He's always more than willing to help out students and help them navigate different questions that maybe I can't help with, but definitely reach out to us. And yeah, this will conclude the presentation part, but we can definitely go into the Q&A now if anyone has any questions.
Um, Brandon, if you want to go ahead and enter your question using the Q&A function, and this goes for anyone else as well. That's what we're going to respond from. Luis, I think this is probably one predominantly for you. When should we reach out about research opportunities? This is coming from Brittany.
Great question. So if you're going to be an in-person student coming in this fall and you want to get started right away, you can definitely start reaching out now and start planning what you plan to do in this fall during summer. So we have our CERC, Space Engineering Research Center. So if you'd like to get started in something like that, you can definitely reach out to Professor Barnhart. For the liquid propulsion lab and our rocket propulsion lab, they usually send out the application for students of interest to start signing up the first week of school, but you can definitely reach out to the leads now on the website that we have for our programs, and they have like a interest form that you can submit. You just list out the details that you're starting in the fall and that you want to get a head start. And you can start as soon as day one or even a little bit before. If you're just trying to get familiar with the program the first semester, then you can do so maybe during the first couple weeks or towards the end of the first semester. It's kind of up to you. We have a few students here which can also touch on the experience as how they went about it. I think Tajawi is typing a few of her thoughts.
Luis, it looks like someone is asking about who they can talk to about waiving graduate courses.
Great question. So they could talk to me. You could set up an appointment and I'll give you the direct detail or instructions of how to go and request the waivers and what would that look like. So I usually will send a welcome email to all the admitted students, which will be today or tomorrow. And then you all can schedule appointments. That way you can get a lot of the information that will be for onboarding, obviously for registration and for the program itself. And that way you can be prepared. So when we do have our official orientation with our base team later on, you'd have more than enough information to get started. And that way you don't have to wait till then. But you can schedule an appointment as soon as tomorrow or this week or whenever available. We work year round. I'm available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Los Angeles Pacific time.
Great. Now here's Brandon's question. What is the astronaut training program that I read about online?
We don't have in the specific astronaut training program that I'm aware of within the department. I don't know if it's something within Viterbi. You can definitely ask Professor Reisman, who he's an astronaut himself, been part of NASA, different space missions and all that good stuff. So you can definitely take his courses as well. We offer a human space flight concentration. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. Within the master's program, he offers 3 classes that you can take with him, and then obviously hope to get some good insight and some sort of preparatory insight from his behalf that can potentially lead you to that career after the master's program or while you're pursuing the master's program.
Great, thank you. Jessica wants to know whether there are any research assistant positions available to master's students.
Great question. So traditionally within our department, our teacher assistant and research assistant positions are for our PhD students that are admitted on fellowship. So we don't have no promotion on RA positions for master students. Master students are self-funded unless you get a fellowship or scholarship of some sort from outside business or entity, or even from Viterbi itself. But at times, a faculty may have opportunities that they don't promote, but you need to connect with faculty individually and see if they have some sort of opportunity like that. It's not something that is common, though, from what I'm aware of for master's students, but you do have to go and build that network and connection with all different faculty members. I would say predominantly focus on faculty members that are doing the type of work that you want to get involved in, and then hopefully they can connect you with either an opportunity from the company or some sort of research assistantship that they have from a special project and they can include you. But that's something you'd have a conversation with a faculty member.
Perfect. And just a little bit extra on that. I, although, as Louise said, there are some opportunities. We really ask that you do not consider a research or teaching assistantship as a guaranteed way of handling some of your funding because it's never absolutely guaranteed. Another thing to consider is that some of our more enterprising students have actually found teaching assistantships outside of the Viterbi school. So if you're really interested, that is an avenue to look into once you arrive on campus. Um, I do have a question here from Isaac on the percentage of students who want to do research and get accepted into research groups. And I think in addition to that, that would be a great time to also bring in your student panelists to talk about, any research that they've been doing.
Right. Yeah. So there is no really strict interview process within it. They just want to vet and make sure that you're going to show up and be part of the group. So everyone's allowed to join the lab groups, specifically for liquid propulsion lab and the rocket propulsion lab team, since they are student led. So we obviously create that opportunity for all students. And if you do have a hard time getting connected with the leads, then you can always reach out to me and I can get you connected. The idea is that every student in this master's program should have the opportunity to work in those labs, especially if you don't have a job and you're doing full-time studies. That would be the opportunity to get that hands-on experience so you could build up your resume or start adding stuff to your resume. For the CERC, which is the Space Engineer Research Center, that's a little bit more formal and you would have to go through Professor Barnhart. So reach out to him and then ask for his application or what would be the requirements for background infos that you present so he can add you to a specific project that your skills would be helpful for.
Luis, I think you mentioned that Tejas has done some research as a master's student. Is that correct?
Say that who has done it?
That at least one of our panelists has done some
Yeah,
research.
I think Niveen, he's part of our liquid propulsion lab team. He helped us out last Friday, so he can probably speak a little bit about the liquid propulsion lab team and how that may look joining, or how his experience was when he got to campus and how that experience was like.
That'd be great.
Hey all, this is Nibin. I'm a first year master's student in the AST department. I joined last fall 2023. I'm currently working as a fluid systems engineer at LPL, that is the liquid propulsion lab. As Lewis rightly said, we would be start hiring in the first week of the classes. Like we do hire by 2 periods in the fall as well as in the spring. And our lab leads are Rohin and Sebastian. So please reach out to them if you have any questions. We have a lot of exciting work that is going on at LPL. We basically build the liquid rocket engines. Those are industry standards, and there are some exciting things that we work at the lab that really adds up a great value to your resume. We do all those things in the industry standard. We have been like having a lot of cool hardware and software inside. We have people working from different departments, as you would already know that like AST and building a rocket engine has a lot to do not just with the Astro team, but also with like electrical, computer science, mechanical. So we run a lot of simulations. We design, we do the research. As well, there are also research opportunities. We do participate in conferences. You people might be aware of AIAA. We do participate in that conference most of the times. We propose our ideas, and we are also closely tied up with at the Aerospace Corporation (TAC), which is located quite close to us. They help us in building our engines. Sometimes we go to their place and get our engines 3D printed. So feel free to look out for the emails. We would be writing emails to the admitted students soon. And if you are interested, do feel free to join us. And you can always reach out to me as well. I'll share in my profile down here. So if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask me around.
Great, thank you, Nippon. Luis, we have one question that's there, but I think it's being answered by one of your panelists, and we don't have any additional questions. Do you have any kind of some additional questions for our panelists that you want to work through at this point?
Yeah, I can also add to the last question I see about, can we take more courses in the required 27 units? Like one more elective course we are interested on top of the required courses? The answer is yes, but you should do that until you complete the master's program requirements. So you do your 9 courses. If you want to take a 10th or an 11th course that is part of our program or another Viterbi department, then you can do so. If I'm not mistaken, I think you would finish your master's and then you can continue on taking courses, and you're either counted as a limited status student where you're taking classes and the course is not being applied to any specific program. But I do recommend that if you are going to take additional courses, you can pursue maybe a second master's and get a discount on the second master's, or also pursue a grad certificate and finish the master's and a grad certificate. So there's various things that you can do while you're pursuing this master's. Is just kind of discussing what are your special plans and what's kind of best for your special case. So definitely, instead of an advising meeting with me, I like to meet with all the students even before orientation since we do have time and we are getting the chance to know each other now. We start school August 26th, so if we can meet anytime from now till then, I'm sure the conversation we can have will be helpful. And hopefully it can set up your plan for the next year or two. And so you have a great idea of how your studies, the lab work, or anything that you'd want to do can be planned out appropriately.
Let me add a little bit onto that. And if you're only interested in one or maybe two additional classes, and actually as part of your master's degree, um, because you can complete the program in a year and a half, do make sure that one of the actual required courses for the degree you hold till your last semester, because once you complete all of those master's courses, you will automatically be graduated. So if you do want to take some additional courses, make sure that you hold one of those required courses for the end. Also, if you are an international student, just be aware that any additional courses that you take do need to be completed within the 2 years allotted for your I-20. Now, turn it back to you, Luis.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. I think that should be it for now. We can go about the program in detail in the courses, as I mentioned, through an individual advising meeting. I will put my advising appointment link on the chat. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to add them. If not, you can reach out to me.
Um, So for all those interested in reaching out to Luis, his information is there. If you have any somewhat generic questions, I and the rest of our base team are happy to answer your questions. You can certainly reach me directly at the email that I just posted. My last name, fujioka@usc.edu. Luis, did you have any final things to say or before we sign off? Oh, it looks like we just got an additional question. Are there any tech specs recommended for a PC?
I'm assuming you're asking about if there's a specific software or anything that you need for the program. From what I'm aware of, you don't need specific software. I would definitely recommend to brush up on MATLAB, which if you go on any Google browser or just add USC student free software, if you don't have access to a personal MATLAB or whatnot, you can access free software as a student here with USC as well. But definitely touch up on MATLAB, and if you can, get some programming because that's what will be needed for orbital mechanics, which is one of the required courses. But that's all I'm aware of. Once you go through each class, the deliverables and requirements would be given from faculty. Some students may ask, should I get a Windows or a Mac or what type of PC? That's also a special preference, but I would definitely recommend to touch up and connect with faculty or your peers as they would know best. From what I'm aware, is any laptop should be sufficient and obviously should be able to do the work. Do you have anything to add to that, Nibin?
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, we have 580 that requires MATLAB, and as well, like if you are really going to join our labs like LPO, we do play with ANSYS, we do the CAD modeling and design, and all the softwares that we use are SolidWorks, Siemens, NX Siemens. That's what we actually use in designing for building our liquid rocket engines. Then, like if you take up any other additional courses, like other technical electives, I think like most softwares that we'd be using would be like doing a hard code in Python or like using your MATLAB. So these are all the softwares that we probably use in our entire coursework. And there is no strict requirement for any sophisticated hardware like just the basic 8 gigs of RAM and like the basic graphic processing units might work. I don't think you would want a heavy, powerful machine to run our softwares. And most softwares can be accessed, as Louis said. You can download it through USC student portals that's available for free. And there is something called a virtual machine that is provided with the student once you get the student access, and once you clear all your restrictions like being given to you, and with that virtual machine, I think you would be all set to run every software. There would not be any issues going on with your PC requirements. And most of the softwares are cross platform, so irrespective of whether you have Mac OS or Windows, I think like it would be completely fine.
Elise, there's a question from Pamela asking on behalf of some people that she knows. She just wants to know whether or not there are still additional admission decisions being made by the Astronautical Engineering Department.
Yeah, so we have a rolling admission review. We admit students fall and spring throughout the year. So we are still reviewing applications and we'll be sending admission decisions soon. If you have a specific case or that friend wants to reach out to us personally, we can definitely review their profile. They send us that notice, and that way we can speed up their decision. And hopefully that can help them make their plans for the fall.
Perfect. Also, Pamela, you can also let your friends know that when for these some later admission decisions, we do extend the acceptance deadline, so your friends don't have to worry about the fact that the acceptance deadline of April 15th is coming up really soon. If they are admitted, for example, even now, I believe those being admitted at this point in time are actually going to have a later date for accepting their admission. Okay, I think that's basically it. We don't have any more questions. I think we've covered everything. So I'd like to thank everyone that attended for taking the time to do so. We really appreciate it. I certainly want to also extend a thank you to Luis, our student panelists, and to the other members of our VASE recruitment team for answering questions. Um, so I think that is basically the end of the presentation. So thank you very much for joining us, and fight on.